A Wall Street Journal op-ed today reading the truth about puberty blockers. And the more digging we did, the more disturbing the truth was. The effects, very serious and permanent.
But turns out the FDA hasn't even approved puberty blockers to transition kids. So what do hospitals keep pushing so hard for these drugs in kids?
Could it be because they're reeling in loads of loot from these procedures? You bring in a kid and start the transition. That is a patient for life, a 7-figure patient. According to Grand View Research, in 2021, the U.S. transition market size was about $1.9 billion. In 2030, it's expected to reach $6 billion.
Joining us now to talk about it is Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, Do No Harm Chairman and former Associate Dean at the University of Pennsylvania. Doctor, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Listen, what the hell is going on here? Why hospitals are pushing so hard to have kids take drugs that have lifetime effects, long-term effects, and it's not even approved by the FDA?
Yes, well, it's very good to be with you. Of course, there are a lot of drugs that aren't approved by the FDA and are widely used. But in this particular instance, I think what you're seeing is this whole ideology about gender affirmation, so-called gender affirmation, coming to reality. And the idea here is to prevent children from going through puberty. By doing so, the argument is made, this gives them a chance to consider whether they want to go on hormones that are then going to change their secondary sexual characteristics and ultimately for surgery. The problem here is, more than the fact that it's not FDA approved, is the fact that over 95% of children who start these puberty blockers end up on the hormones. And the hormones, as well as the puberty blockers, do produce irreversible long-term changes. Now, the argument that puberty blockers are completely reversible is the essence of Mr. Posner's article, and the point is they're not completely reversible. They have been associated with some really severe side effects, such as changes in bone function, particularly, and also some even more troubling ones, such as evidence of some swelling of the brain. There have been some changes that have been observed about the cognitive function of children that are put on these drugs. The benefit for the children, supposedly, is that they will never go through puberty and then will be able to have a physical appearance that more closely follows the gender that they're trying to transform into. But the downside is twofold. One is that, as we said, the drugs have long-term effects. And secondly, if these children weren't put through this whole medicalization of gender transformation, we know from multiple studies that they will go on to lead perfectly happy lives. They may be gay, they may be bisexual, or they may be heterosexual. But failing to allow them to go through puberty is actually preventing normal development of them as human beings.
And Doctor, here in the United States, there are up to 19 states that have banned in some way these restricted gender-affirming care, and that's the way it's referred to. But the trans movement has made it a political issue here in the United States. No debate, no dissent, the science is settled. That's not the case. If you look overseas, Finland has cut back on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones to minors. Sweden, Norway, Britain's National Health Service shut the country's largest youth gender clinic because there were people who were not doctors, not scientists, pushing children into this, quote, gender-affirming care who did not have gender dysphoria, who were autistic or even mentally ill. Some of the stories are really quite frightening.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The experience in Europe has really been a sort of an eye-opening event, because these are countries that have had longer experiences than in the United States with this so-called treatment, and the ones you mentioned have come to that conclusion that, in fact, there's evidence that they're doing more harm than good. And again, I think the reason is because they're taking individuals who would go through puberty and be perfectly normal individuals, and they're turning them into individuals who require these medications, as you said in the beginning, for the rest of their lives, including surgery that can be quite quite mutilating. You know, we work closely with a young woman named Chloe Cole, who you may have heard of. She is a young woman who, at age 15, had her breasts removed, and now she's a beautiful 19-year-old woman who goes around the country telling individuals, telling physicians, telling legislators how this has really basically ruined her reproductive life and maybe her life in general. And she felt like she was not given an informed consent. And I think this is one of the biggest issues for your listeners, is that these children are not able to give informed consent.
Right. Dr. Goldfarb, great to see you. Please come back very soon. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Doc.